Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What is going on, everybody? I know it's been since last year since been back on this show. You know it's Hard Knocks season 4, and you know what team we're gonna be going over. But I got to introduce my guy Jeff. How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, great, man. Great to be black. Great to be black. It probably is great to be black. I wouldn't know. Um, but great to be back. Love doing the show again. I'm glad you asked me to do it. I think this is one of the more out of the, I think this is our third or fourth we've done. I can't even remember, but this is
I
one of
think
the more
fourth.
intriguing ones. Yeah. Cause this is a team that people have a lot of interest in. They kind of nailed it again with the team that could be up and coming, big young stars, free agents, and the whole deal. So this ought to be a really good season of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the team we're talking about is. Let me get this going so to drum it up a little bit.
That team, which is known the world over as the Bears.
The Bears. You know we're going over the Bears. Some people don't know where that's coming from. Go check out SNL about the Chicago Bears super fans. They got some pretty funny clips out there, but I just wanted to show love. That was the first thing I thought of when we were about covering the Bears. I had to show love to that. So
And it's crazy, man. I was watching introduction to the show, last night, and it was cool because I'm just old enough to I vividly remember the '85 Bears season. Um, I was old enough. I was right when I was starting to really get interested in watching football and especially NFL. And I was a big Dolphins fan. So that year, the Dolphins are the only team that beat the Bears that year on a magical night in Miami with all the 72 guys in attendance. So it's special to me, and I remember it's still. I think it's still the most dominant Super Bowl there's ever been. I know there's been different types of blowouts since, but there is no way to describe what a massacre that was that night against New England. So I've known a lot of Bears fans over the years because of that, game, and I've been to Chicago. I've been to a Bears game, so I've actually met the fans. So this was a cool. I like the intro of it, and the Bears are one of those teams that um, like we think of them probably more vividly. And then when you really look at it, like, well, they haven't had a ton of success, but like there's something about their success just sticks. The two Super Bowls they went to just stick around, but yet
yeah.
they really haven't been a very successful team, especially at quarterback, which this show's leaning heavy into it. So it was cool. Drummed up some of the memories. Again, I think we're going to enjoy this one.
Yeah. When you met some of the Bears fans, did any of them look like the ones I just showed you?
Yes. There were some cats that we met that were right out of the SNL skits, the Chris Farley and the guys. So yes, and they love Coach Ditka as much as they say they do in the skit, and so is they lived up to it. They lived up to it. I was not disappointed, and we even got to meet some of the '85 Bears that weekend. So yeah. Got a lot of fond memories of Chicago. Never been a Bears fan, but I'm a fan of their fans, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that makes plenty of sense. We got a comment from my guy, Sports PSP. Like and subscribe to the pod. Appreciate you, bro. And can Caleb win Rookie of the Year?
Oh, absolutely. He can win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback, which already puts him in the running. He's supposed to be the best rookie quarterback. He absolutely can. I think one of the receivers is going to probably Marvin Harrison Jr., just because he's in the best situation to win Rookie of the Year. But absolutely, Caleb can. Because here's the thing: they're going to let him put up yards. We'll get into some of the coaching stuff, but I like that we have a question. I appreciate that. So yeah, this coach is going to let this kid cook. This is all about making his offense look good and save his job. And I'll have more on the coach as we dig into the show. But Williams, as of right now, I'd say Williams is probably my second or third favorite behind probably Neighbors and Harrison, depending on what it looks like in New York, because this receivers step on the field and they're a starter day one. It's just a huge advantage that they have.
Yeah, when it comes to rookie year, usually if the quarterback has a good solid year and they kind of transition from the year before, he's usually most likely going to win rookie
Yeah.
year. But if the wide receivers balling out like the expectation for Harrison Jr. or maybe possibly Neighbors, it could go to one of those guys. But
and defensive guy can do it too. A kid pops off and gets some. I would imagine that Parsons probably won Rookie of the Year. I don't quite remember. So it's here's the thing about Rookie of the Year. Also, it's an award that we don't remember. No disrespect to the rookies of the year, but they don't stick with us because we don't. You know what I mean? Like we don't really care if in 4 years they haven't won a Super Bowl, then we no longer care if they were Rookie of the Year.
It's true.
It's an interesting award, but
Yeah, when it comes to rookie of the year, some you go back to it if the guy ends up going to the Hall of Fame and you put that
Yeah.
in their accolade list. But after the rookie of the year, you kind of like, okay, what can you do the next year, and what can you
Yes.
do for your career? What can you do for us in the future? Are we going to go to the Super Bowl? Or are you just going to rack up awards and then we
Yeah.
say
Yeah, you're exactly. It's a stats award for one of the rookies. There's not a whole lot more to it than that, yeah, but I will say this: he's one of the most talked about rookies in a long time. It was there's something different. Like Trevor Lawrence, we don't have to go back very far to remember a quarterback that had this much hype. Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be that guy too. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, just got his extension. But I'm saying like it was just a few years ago that he was the best. He was a generational talent. Like
yeah,
all these guys, it happens more often we think. But there's something unique about him going to Chicago, them getting rid of a quarterback, a highly drafted quarterback that some people still think has potential. Fields is doing apparently well in Pittsburgh. Um, a lot of the blame has been put on him from this coach. Again, we'll talk. I think you can tell already. I don't. This coach is not my favorite in the league as of right now. And again, I want everybody to remember we base everything off of what we see on the show, not
yeah,
of like we don't do any more research than that. We watch the show like a TV show, and we give you the feedback. So right now, me and the coach we're not seeing eye to eye. But
I get
so Caleb Williams is definitely going to be one of the most scrutinized, talked about, dissected rookies in history. His demeanor is different. Like you see a lot of this show was very Caleb Williams heavy. Like this was a
I got to
Caleb
be.
Williams, display show. I think we're gonna get more into a Dunze and some of that stuff in the coming weeks. But this was about Caleb Williams and probably a little too much about the coach. But so
Yeah,
this is going to be a scrutinized kid. He's going to be looked at. Didn't realize the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer ever. I thought maybe one would have snuck in there. Um, so it's interesting. Something I noticed when they were talking about the Bears receivers, which they do have a heck of a receiving core, they had a receiver that had 90 some catches and over 1,000 yards last year for a quarterback that we say can't play in the NFL. So I think we might want to. I'm not sure the Bears' offensive season last year was quite as horrible as people may imagine, and I think that maybe the coach might be as bad as people imagine. But we'll see. New offense this year, and we'll see how it goes.
yeah. I think
Anyway,
they
we'll get
were.
into the show now. We'll get into the show.
Yeah, I think they were trying to shoot the other quarterback because they wanted the hot new quarterback, and that's what that situation was. But this receiving core is looking really
Yeah.
nice, and especially when it comes to the Bears, because you think about
Yes.
running backs and you think about the defense. You don't really think about wide receivers. But this trio,
No.
it's a great blend of a rookie. You got a young receiver that
Yeah.
plays a little, got that running back skill set, and then you
Yeah.
got that veteran savvy route running savvy Keenan Allen. Like she one of my favorite receivers out there.
And what they did, AB, is that they got a good combination of receivers.
Yeah.
These guys are all different. They all have different skill sets, but they all have dynamic skill sets.
Mhm.
Adunze, he's a missing part to any team. I mean, this guy's
Oh yeah.
physical, he's smart, a high energy, good, run the whole 9 yards. I mean, this guy's got it all. But then you also got Allen, who is he's great. He's great in confined space. He's great at getting open. You can use him sideline to sideline. He can work underneath and all these things. It's just over the top. And then Moore can just do about anything, in the, especially in the middle of the field. And a really And then let's not forget about Komet, a
Oh yeah.
great tight end
Commensurate.
to go with it. I mean, this is truly like one of the best, it's 7-on-7 teams in the NFL. Williams, there's no doubt about Williams' arm talent. I mean, everything is whether can he play in the confines of an offense? Can he not try to make the hero play every other play and wind up getting hurt like we see players do? If he tries to be, zero sugar Patrick Mahomes, like he's going to wind up injured is what's going to happen. And that's hard. That's hard for him to not do because he's such a great athlete and a great player. And that's just how he's played his whole
Yeah,
career.
I would
But we
say
saw it with USC last year. And, it came back to bite him a little bit. So
yeah, it comes to like to the mental
yep.
aspect of when it comes to Caleb Williams. Oh, we got a great question by our guy Sports
Sweet.
PhD. He said, "What did you say to those who think Caleb Williams will end up like Jay Cutler?"
Well, so
Wow.
I would say that it can't happen, and I'm not saying that doesn't mean Williams can't fail. I don't know if or that doesn't mean that he can't be great, but I think I don't see a world to where he can be all stats and no victories and kind of absent-minded like Cutler. I think it's going to be all or nothing with Williams. I think he's going to be, all over the field and blowing it up. Or I think it's going to be too much for him, and it's not going to happen in Chicago. But I, I, I mean, there's definitely a failure. I mean, anytime you get a 6'1" quarterback, that right there, there's a couple limitations. Anytime you're talking about a guy who had, some questions coming out of college about, mental preparation and all that. I mean, I'm saying these are all questions. I'm not saying I think these things. I'm just saying there's always the possibility of falling on your face in the NFL because it's hard. Let's just put it that way. To answer the question, NFL is really hard.
Yeah, most definitely.
And he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Definitely the weight of a city on his shoulders.
I don't know what's going on my camera, but we're gonna hustle through. And they don't want they don't want us to be great, but we're gonna keep going. So I'm gonna have to just buy another camera. I'm just gonna have to do that because we can't be doing this. But
we all been there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been talking about Caleb Williams, but we kind of went into the coach. Like, this coach isn't like the guy you want to hear. I'm not saying what he looks like. He looks like, those shows when they talk about football and they find some guy that looks like a coach and he says all the tropes he used.
Yes.
That's him.
So my note was used car salesman. I think we're both saying the same thing here. I mean, a couple of the speeches he gave, and again, everything's based on the show, but he walks around like he's coming off a Super Bowl victory.
Yeah.
And here's a huge mistake. I want to say is it Aberhaus? Am I saying that right? I hate to get a guy's name wrong.
I think it's Eberflus or something like that.
Eberflus. Yes. Okay. I apologize, sir. I apologize. The name, whether I'm disrespecting what I'm saying, but he just comes off as like exactly what you said. He's a guy playing a football coach in a movie. Everything I've seen from the Bears while he's been there, I've questioned his coaching ability. I think he took a talent like Fields and wasted it. A lot of that was his fault. I'm not saying none of it was Fields, but everything came off as like contrived and he thinks he really feels like he thinks he's a little smarter than he is, kind of all that.
Yeah.
I just like you said, the way he talks, all the tropes and that. But then the speech he gave was one of the wackest that we've heard in Hard Knocks. Coming off a guy like Dan Campbell, when we did his season of like, he was a goofball, but man, his coaching staff got you like, man, these guys love football and all that. And here's a mistake that he made on the show is letting Nick Saban be there. Because one of my favorite 5 minutes of the show was Nick Saban talking about what you do, how to bring this young quarterback along. And I'm like, every word he said, I was like, that's a football coach. That's somebody who knows, how to bring talent along. That's somebody who knows how to get the best out of somebody. So like, what a mistake to sit across the table from Nick Saban and just be able to sit there and go, And Nick had to be like, oh yeah, remember? And I'm like, no, don't try to act like you're a Saban disciple, dude. Like, this isn't gonna happen. That'd be like me, I don't know. I want to bring in an actor and talk to him, and I bring in Idris Elba, and I'm like, yeah, we're both actors, and they're gonna be like, oh no, like you should have picked somebody else, man. Like, there's a huge difference. So I thought the Saban part, speaking of that, was my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, because he went from outside of the
Nick Saban is what he is, but one thing I know is a legendary coach.
Yeah, when he's seen Saban in there, he's over there asking him questions like, "I'm trying to learn how to become a coach. I need to hear everything that you're saying." But when he's out there, he's kind of like, "I know everything and all this stuff."
Exactly,
he doesn't know everything.
He's the head coach of the Bears, and he was like, "Oh, that's a good point." I'm like, "What do you mean that's a good point? If I know that and AB knows that, what do you say? What are you talking about, dude?" But I love what Saban said. Just to point out one real quick thing he said that got me was he was like, we can all be average regardless of talent level and all that. He's like, not everybody has that special thing that makes them, a Michael Jordan or a Tom Brady. It's like, that's the part that you got to teach to make your team good year in and year out. And I'm like, finally, somebody said it. Like we act like Williams should come out and be Tom Brady. Like he might not be. You got to make him your quarterback. You know what I mean? And I just loved everything Coach Saban had to say about that. Just the insightful football and how you sustain excellence like he did for so long, rather than what the Bears are trying to do and hope they got lightning in a bottle. That's what.
Yeah.
Let's face it. That's what the Bears were doing, is hoping that Caleb Williams is some kind of miracle player and is going to save or put the franchise, back in the Super Bowl.
Man, I'm so sorry about this camera. We're gonna figure it out. Like,
It's all right. We'll get through some of this. We got to get some of your thought. What was your favorite part?
my favorite part, I'm not. I'm gonna get through the funny part. So the slip and
Okay.
slide scene, when they're talking about what Kev said. He said I never knew how to slide and stuff, so they just brought out this. Okay, now it's grainy. This is hilarious, but
Don't worry, man. It sounds good. It's gonna be a good audio podcast.
yeah, I look like the blue man if you're watching this. I didn't pay myself blue anybody, but that was probably the funniest scene when it came to that. They look like a bunch of little kids out there having a great time and everything. So that was a good scene. But one of my favorite scenes from it was when Jonathan Owens got to go see his wife Simone Biles go being in there. I heard from a lot of people that like they shouldn't have had that in the whole in the show. I'm like, yeah, like this isn't just all about football. They're human beings just like us. They have wives and kids and everything. So I actually thought it was one of the best scenes in the show.
I loved it. I thought my second favorite part, and I had that wrote down too, was Simone on the conference or the telephone, the FaceTime before Owens was getting ready to leave for the airport. And she is just like, we get to see, one of the most legendary, female athletes we've ever had, just be this guy's partner and his wife. And they're like, you want to be there on time. Did you pack this? Did you pack that? Just reminding him, like, don't forget when you come back from France, like just them being a couple. I thought it was a really cool that they both let us, have the insight, of this couple that, they've shown nonstop on NBC. I really thought that part was really cool. And I thought it was nice to see, the other side of Simone besides just a competitor and on there. And I like this Owens guy. And I did like what the coach said about letting him go and they supported it and all that. I do think it was cool that he got to be there and skip the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about Eberflus, that he did something like that. All the other stuff was kind of trophy and stuff.
Yeah. I think he's probably a decent dude. I just don't know how good of a coach he is.
Yeah, it's like he's still learning how to be a coach, but he's trying to act like he's been a head coach for years, and it's just like, oh, I'm still learning how to be a coach, but I'm not gonna let everybody else know that. Like these guys don't notice this about you. You were a good defensive coordinator, but the head coaching part, he's still trying to learn. And most defensive coordinators in this day and time are not the most successful head coaches. Usually the offensive minded guys.
Yep. And and they're used to focusing on one thing and dissecting, now he's trying to, quote unquote, raise a quarterback. Like there's so many things that can, that can go wrong. It's a tough situation to be in, but here's what's funny. And this is just a bold prediction for me, whoever takes his team over in the next year or so is going to have a squad. If Williams is even decent, they are going to have a squad on their hands in a couple of years. The NFC North is going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely a nasty when it comes to, it's gonna be a physical type of a conference and everything. So I can't wait to see what this division does. But trying to get into some other notes. Okay, here's what did you think about the tribute to America by our fellow Canadian Theo Bennett? I can't pronounce this.
So we're talking about Eagle. Let's just call him Eagle. That's his
it was
nickname
called
now.
Eagle.
So I'm not on the show. I'm not the biggest fan of the rookie hazing stuff. That I've never. Sometimes it's funny, but just overall, it's not my favorite part. Maybe it's because I get squeamish because I'm so embarrassed or whatever. But so basically, what this guy does is drops these drawers and he's got an American Eagle Speedo on, singing the famous Lee Greenwood, "Proud to be an American." I'm gonna, but literally and figuratively, it took some balls to do this.
Yeah,
He's not a typical speedo body. Ain't nothing wrong, good looking guy, but
yeah,
he don't really have what you call a classic speedo body.
yeah,
Let's just put it that way. I did think it was funny that they showed it, and I'm glad they did it. I liked that they do the signing bonus, and he's like 20,000 after Caleb Williams said 25.5 million.
yeah,
And I'll say something else too. And again, this is about reading into the TV show. I don't think I liked how Williams said 25.5 million, like he wasn't embarrassed.
yeah,
Like he's a rookie and he said it like it's cool. Like I know that shows the confidence in him, but man, that's gotta be hard to swallow. You're an offensive lineman, been there 7 years, getting your head
yeah.
banged in. This kid's like 25.5. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's been like, I've been here for 5 years and I'm not even near half
Yeah,
of where you're at right now.
yeah,
And he's
yeah,
just like,
punk.
oh, it's just $25 million. It ain't nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, and again, it's just reading into the show. It means nothing. I mean, they all
Yeah,
know they all know what they all make. I've always thought that's probably is a problem in locker rooms, but it is what it is. That's how the NFL is structured. But these guys also know that he can make them all money if he's good.
yeah.
So like having a great quarterback makes you all money. So there's nothing wrong with it.
Nah, you want Caleb Williams to be great. So when those contracts start coming around, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get
Yep.
paid because I was protecting this
Oh yeah,
quarterback.
especially if you're a receiver.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like if he gets that ball out
Well,
to
I've seen
you,
this. We've seen this. We see this exact scenario. This is what happened to the Cincinnati Bengals. This is exactly the scenario the Cincinnati Bengals were in when they got Joe Burrow. They upgraded at quarterback from a decent quarterback. They upgraded to what turned out to be a quote almost great quarterback now with Burrow, we think. And so it may all of a sudden the receivers like, wow, these guys are good. Defense, wow, defense looks better. Wow, everybody looks better now because Joe can run a team. This is exactly the position the Bears are in that the Bengals were in back in 2019 or 2020 when they took Joe Burrow. So that's how this can go. You know what I mean? They can come in, and that, we're talking they're in the Super Bowl a couple years later. Like that's how fast these things turn around if Williams hits. I don't think there's, and when I say pressure, I don't mean like this kid feels the pressure because I have no idea whether he cares about that or not. So anytime I say there's pressure on somebody, what I really mean is like there's a lot of eyeballs on Caleb Williams. Every throw he makes, every game he plays, I don't know if anybody's ever because when Lawrence goes to Jacksonville, there's not as much national eyeballs on Jacksonville. There's
yeah.
not as much scrutiny. It's just the truth of the Bears. We're going to get Caleb Williams updates every week, week in, week out, analyzation, tearing apart. And he's kind of he's a younger guy, he's of a different generation. So a lot of football fans aren't going to understand, or they're not going to know how they feel about the fingernail polish, how he speaks. He's going to do things that to them seem non-football on and off the field, but it's his generation. It's him. It doesn't mean he can't be a good quarterback, but people aren't going to quite understand it. And so then you have a bad game and now you're out, doing something non-typical football or whatever, or you got your fingernails painted or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like it was at USC. Then all of a sudden, especially at a city like Chicago, they're going to come down hard. They're like, nah, man, we need our quarterbacks to be CTE to the, to the death like Jim McMahon. That's what a quarterback does. You know what I mean? They go out there and get killed and bleed and say all the right things. And even Cutler was a little like that, as appearance wise. We don't know behind the scenes, but Williams is going to strike people a little different. Probably going to be a lot of young people that love him and relate to him, and that's going to be their dude. But older fans, man, if he's not hitting, they're going to come for him.
Oh yeah, they're going to pick apart like the fingernail paint. He's coming into a fan base that's old school, smoking cigars and drinking beers.
And they all grew up on Michael Jordan. Oh, they all grew up on Michael Jordan too. Plus, I want to say one more thing. They got no right. They got no right playing that Bulls intro for the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams ain't stepped on the field because that got my blood boiling. I was ready to go. I mean, that's my song. Like when I heard that, for a decade, I knew that was go time. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bulls are coming, like the champions are coming. I'm ready to go. You're waiting for, 6-6 North Carolina, like all that.
Yeah.
And then they turned it into Caleb Williams. I was upset, AB. I was really upset.
It just felt
it was
wrong.
Cool, and I was upset as hell. Like that's an MJ. You can't be making like 98 Bulls comparisons to this Chicago Bears team. Like stop it.
Not at all. Yeah, like
I forgot about how much upset me.
No, I was gonna ask you about that part. I was I was going through my notes. I wrote that down. I'm like, I want to hear how Jeff felt about that. Like, I didn't feel.
Oh, I
I
was
felt
I
wrong.
was I was
Felt wrong.
upset because it had me going, but I'm like, this ain't. But it was cool. Actually, it was super cool that they did
It
it.
was.
Anytime I can hear that, it's awesome. Like even in Space Jam, when you hear
Oh
it,
yeah.
like I'm ready to go. But that's still my man. Like you was already we keep. Even though they're not comparing them head to head. They just keep throwing the Michael Jordan name out there and Caleb Williams within the same few minutes. I'm like, that is crippling. Like,
Yeah, it is.
pick anybody else. I say even Walter Payton. At least that'd be like maybe a notch down as far as like realistic. I mean, come on. Say Scottie Pippen. give the kid a chance. Throw Michael Jordan out there in like 3 or 4 years. Like, woof.
That's some big shoes to fill, especially in Chicago.
And yeah, he still looms over that town. Like you can feel Michael Jordan in that town to this day. Like that Bulls team is not. I mean, I'm a Bulls fan from Ohio, and it has not gone away. And it's been 30 years. You think they forgot about it?
No.
And so if he ain't the best ever, they say here's the thing about Chicago. This is what I know about Chicago fans. They say they've lowered their expectations for quarterbacks and all. No, they ain't.
No.
If he looks really good, especially if he looks good a couple games, oh boy, then it's like you got to be good forever. We need 4 Super Bowls and win like all that. That's just how, and that's because they're sports fans. They want to win. The thing about Chicago sports fans is they want to win. Like as a Cubs fan, it was tough. Like we loved our team and all that, but like the not winning part bothered us. So these people ain't here. This is it. Like they're like, you got everything you need now. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Let's go.
Yeah, I knew a few Cubs fans when they won that 2016 World Series. That's when
change your life.
Yeah,
change your lives.
Yeah, but I feel sorry for the White Sox fans out there. I'm like,
hey, they got one. They got one. But yeah, it's tough for White Sox fans right now. And you got to, and so that's one thing too. Like you got the baseball teams are split, but most everybody's a Bears fan or a Bulls fan in general in that town. So like you got, man, that is a heck of a fan base. And I don't know, man. I think we're going to find out a lot about the fan base, a lot about the coaching staff this year. I think we're going to find out a lot about Justin Fields, a lot about Caleb Williams, because I'm under the opinion that they kind of blew it with Fields and he did what he could. That's just my opinion as of right now.
Yeah, when
we'll see. Maybe they got the best out of him. Williams is going to go there and light it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for Caleb Williams. I don't hope the worst for him and stuff like that. Like I know.
Oh yeah, I want him to be good.
Yeah, he's just a different personality than what people have seen in quarterbacks because he's got the painted nails. His personality is a little bit on the flamboyant side when it comes to you get into the Midwest. You kind of want this tough, rugged quarterback, this gunslinger type of quarterback, and he's not that guy. He's a new generation quarterback.
He's a new dude, man. Yeah, that's. I mean, and again, it's fine. But you also there's ramifications like and it goes from also it doesn't matter what type of personality you are, you got ramifications in the NFL. Like everybody's got fans that they're going to come at you for whatever reason. I mean, we've seen it with LeBron James. The guy's done nothing wrong, and yet there's still people that are like nitpick the heck out of him. So, but this kid being a quarterback, you're standalone. You don't get your games aren't hidden. Like everybody can watch your games. Everybody can see everything you do on a field. Like you take a rookie in basketball, man, you can watch a game. You might even you had a Webby this year. You got to watch him, but like, you know what I mean? Like any that stuff kind of just blends in. They play so many games. So at the end of the year, you're like, good season. We got a lot of potential. But Williams comes in like, he's the spotlight player. This isn't Odunze, like we're not going to scrutinize like this because he's going to be able to blend in with the other receivers. Williams he's the dude. He's already, I mean, when you're the starting quarterback, as soon as you're drafted, like it's just a mountain to climb.
Yeah, and he's got to climb. And then when you think, that was a good point. When it comes to NBA rookies, they, like you said, they play a lot of games. So if they have a bad game, it's okay. There's another game 2 days from now. But when it comes to football, you only got 14 games, and hopefully you get into not 14, 17 games. I lost track.
What year was you born in, man?
I was born in 1990, apparently. I was born a little early.
They ain't played 14 games since the 60s.
Yeah, I could check them out. Yeah. more than 60s, but they play a lot of they play 17 games. Then they hopefully they get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Almost lost what I was going to say, but you only play one game a week, so that one
And that's
game
the
if you're
thing.
not
This team's also it's another downside. Oh no, go ahead. Go. Can you continue your point? I'm sorry.
oh no, you're good. They only have one game if a week. If
Yeah.
you have that one game, you have a bad week. Everybody say, "Oh, see, he's a bust. He's not the quarter."
Yep.
We told you he's not that quarterback. And
Yep.
then
6 days. 6 days to dwell on it. And
yeah,
that's what we don't know about Williams. Like, everybody judged him for the crying in the stands and stuff last year. And here's the thing: I don't judge any of that because I don't know anything about him, his family, his
yeah,
personality. I know nothing. That might that's just it. That doesn't mean that was a weakness or anything. But I think what we do know by that is that he does care. I
yeah,
think we can at least say that he cares. We have no idea if it's too much, not enough, if it was pressure, if he cared so much about if it's because if you want to win that, like when Tom Brady throws a fit, it's because he's so passionate and everybody's
yeah,
cool with it. Maybe that's what it looks like when Williams is that passionate. It might be, we don't know. But what we do know is he's emotional and he cares, and he's not gonna he's not gonna internalize it. We're gonna know. So then now you got like 6 days, and what we also don't know is he gonna care too much. Is he gonna be able to understand that he's gonna be terrible, half the season? Like, it just doesn't. Every quarterback has bad games, so a rookie's gonna have half the season. He's gonna have bad games. I mean, even Stroud last year barely made the playoffs. So Stroud's one of the best rookie quarterbacks we've ever seen, but he still barely made the playoffs. Won a playoff game, and that's great. But he had moments, and he was one of the best we've ever seen. So and I forgot about that part. Now you got Stroud to compare him to. We just had a
yeah,
season, so if Williams doesn't make the playoffs, you're like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, Stroud won a playoff game last year. So now now it's Stroud versus Williams, which is it's been for a long time, honestly.
yeah.
Like those two from the same general area and California quarterbacks and all these things.
Mhm.
So like now you're comparing him to Stroud. And then what happens if Fields has a decent year? What happens if Fields you know, gets a wild card spot with the Steelers? The Steelers go to the playoffs with anybody. They went to playoffs with some of the worst quarterbacking ever last year. What if they go to the playoffs with Fields and Williams? Is like stuff like that. Like, that's all these storylines that are
Oh yeah,
just it's just a kettle. It's just a pot. But hey, man, to get the first pick and you take that money, it's on your shoulder. It might be great though. You might be great.
yeah.
No.
Oh my bad. No, when it comes to Fields, if Fields has a better year than Williams and everything, they like you said, they go to the playoffs. They're gonna say, "Look who won in this trade. Look what happened. Yeah, they should have
Uh-huh.
kept Fields." Like when
Yep.
it comes to like you said, Pittsburgh, Tomlin finds a way to at least get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He could have the worst quarterback, but he'll
He
scheme
did
up
last
something.
year. He
Yeah, he'll
just
scheme
did.
up something. That's just the Steelers. They'll figure it out with that. It's not just because the quarterback's really good. They have overall around the team. They'll figure something out. But I,
Yes.
that's only the problem by when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. They have a lot of pressure coming in there starting, and like they're gonna go back to he was crying back when he was with USC. Not every player is like a Joe Burrow that can kind of when he's down, he's just Joe cool and he's just
Exactly.
cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, and again, it's fine. We think, you know what I mean. But do I have questions about Williams? I do. Most of them are on the field. I don't ever judge, especially when you're talking about young people. Like, I'm not trying to judge somebody by their actions, off the field. And I literally mean off the field. So you step off the field, what you're doing on the sidelines, all that. I don't want to do that because I don't know you. Like I said, I don't know you. I don't know your family. I'm not going to sit here and I would have no concept of what you're going through, what you were feeling that day. None of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I do have some questions about decision making, vision. A few of the real on the field things that I saw pop up that a lot of people tell me I didn't see at USC, but then I'll hear other people say like, yeah, I saw that too. I don't think he's the perfect quarterback is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You're gonna have question marks with any quarterback, and he might be getting a little overstated exactly like how ready let's put it this way. I don't think it's been 20 years since we've seen a quarterback this good. Like, I don't know if he's a whole lot better than Murray, Mayfield, Allen, certainly Mahomes. Like, I don't necessarily, he doesn't really jump off the page that he's even better than like Lamar Jackson or anybody coming out. So, like, I do have some more in the field. He might just be good, is what I'm saying. And that's fine. If the Bears get a
yeah.
good quarterback, great for them. He'll be fine if he's good, because if he can put the ball, that's one thing, he can locate the ball. He'll be one of the best in the league at just arm talent when he steps in on the field. And with that receiving core, like we talked about, like he's going to put up yards, and they're going to be in games just because if they keep him upright, he's going to make the throws. I will 100% give him that right off the bat.
Yeah, because he has all the skill, talent, and all that, but
Yeah.
it's just I think overall the mental aspect. Like when things are not going the right way, that the plan's going, how is he going to handle that situation? That's
Yeah.
what you want to see what he does.
Or what about Green Bay when it's 20 degrees? Like that's a thing.
That's a mental
We don't
aspect.
know. We don't know yet. I mean, you know what I mean? Like we don't know yet.
Yeah, those frozen tundras, like what you're going to do when you play in those games up in Green Bay. That's
I think,
a true story.
yeah, I think the show will probably give us some more characters next week. They had to do a Caleb Williams episode.
All right.
And here's the thing, we have to remember with the show, it's unique because sometimes we overlook the fact that it's not filmed yet. Like we don't know what's going to happen next week because they haven't played the preseason game yet. So we literally have no idea. It's not like one of these that's taped and then they show it 5 weeks in a row. Like it's not like we have no idea what's going to happen. We don't know who we're going to meet. We don't know who's going to step up. Somebody's like, they're always going to have injuries. You're going to have rookies do this. You have guys popping off that we're like, wow, this kid came out of nowhere. Like we had Rodrigo a couple years ago. So like that's what's cool about this show is that we're sitting here right now. We have no idea what's going to happen this week when Caleb Williams finally hits the field. It's going to be Caleb Williams' first NFL action when we talk about this next week.
Yeah,
so we're going to have actual football action to talk about.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. My first, when it comes to like episode 2, what are like 2 people that you hope to see more? Because the ones I got is Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator, and I want to hear from former UT wide receiver Colin Johnson, who balled out in that preseason game.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I missed some of that. I know you're talking about now. Yeah, I mean, I guess the answer is one of the easy answers. I don't know. Like, I just want an interesting character, like whoever it is that just wants to just take. I thought Rome came off really well. I could use some more Rome. And we haven't met our coach yet. Like we meet our coach every year that we're like, oh man, that's my guy. Like a couple years ago was Aaron Glenn. Remember Aaron Glenn was just him and Deuce were both just jumping off the screen. So like I need to meet that coach. But I do like the quarterbacks coach.
Oh yeah, it was a good one.
That guy. I need more. Yeah, I need more of that guy. I liked him in the room, and I like the stuff that coach's room they did with the quarterbacks on the quarterback competition. That was a really good part, and I like the coaches, having the interaction with them and talking back and forth. But that quarterbacks coach, I think he's going to be cool. There was something about him that I think we're going to get more of him, and I'm going to enjoy that. I think Rome's going to get more, and then we're going to meet somebody this week that we're really going to love, and we're going to be laughing about it. I think we need less head coach. I just don't think he's that interesting. I don't need to
you don't have to force it.
Yeah. I thought they forced him into the show, and I thought he forced it, and that just wasn't it. And like say, if you compare that to what we got to see in the offseason, the New York Giants ones that they had this year, those guys there was a lot more personality, a lot more like real talk going on and stuff like that. So that might be something else I'm comparing it to where we kind of took a step back with this coach here. But the Biles stuff was awesome. It was nice to get to meet Caleb Williams because I don't know a lot about him because just to where he played. I didn't get to really dig into him a whole lot outside of just watching, some of these games. So it was cool to get to meet him and kind of learn more about his personality and how he's going to interact. And then again, this next week's going to be all about what he does in the preseason game. And again, we have no idea what the future beholds. So it's going to be a lot of that. But yeah, I think that it's going to wind up being a really good season. By the end of it, I think we're going to think it was another good one. They've been nailing it ever since we started doing the show. They've been good Hard Knocks.
Maybe that's saying something to that. As long as we keep this show going, we're gonna have good Hard Knocks.
Yeah, they need to start having us do it.
Have recap shows. I think we do a great job.
Oh yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, when I see some of the recaps, a lot of the people are super serious and everything. We be going off topic sometimes, talking about history that
Hey, you
That's
watch
the
it. You
protect.
watch it like it. Well, you got wild last year. No,
Oh
we
yeah,
watch it like a TV show. That's what it is. It's TV
yeah,
programming. We don't, we analyzed Williams, but I think we had to. It was a Williams heavy show. But I like everybody every week. We're not going to dig into Caleb Williams' future and all that. I think we covered
yeah.
it really well. Now we'll just enjoy the show, see what he does, scrutinize a little bit, um, but it was good. But I thought I like the Dunze a lot last year, so I was glad to see him, get some airtime, and he's everything that I thought he was. Just love the guy, and I got to see him on the New York Giants Hard Knocks. They interviewed Odunze, so now I've got to see him a couple times, and I'm like, he's one of those dudes. Like they've got a starter. That's the thing about you can get it right with receiver pretty quick, and he's one of them.
Yeah, I hope next episode we get a little bit more of him. I know this is kind of going back a little bit, but
Okay.
did Eberflus's family kind of remind you of Aiden Hutchinson's family?
See, I wasn't
Their
gonna bring it
personality.
up. I didn't want to bring it up. But I'm like, why do we got to do this again? That's what I said
Yeah,
to myself. I was like, oh, we got to do this again.
yeah,
Like, what do we have to show the family in the stands? And I'm not trying to be mean to anybody's family. I'm just putting it this way. I don't care. Like, I like it great. Like, it really came off not quite as irritating, but boy, it was, it was pushing up there. But I'm like, I don't know. They all seem unrealistic about what's going on. Like they act like this guy's got like this. They show him like driving a sports car and doing all this and walking around in the white pants. I'm like, bro, your team underachieved since you've been there. Like you need to be in the film. And I know you can't be like that all the time. I'm just again, it's how it comes off in the TV show. I'm like, you act like you're Nick Saban, but you ain't. Nick Saban gonna be coaching your team next year if if you don't get any better. Let's put it that way. You might get to see Nick real soon when he's taking your locker. You're muted, AB.
I didn't meet him myself, but when it came to Nick Saban, he pretty much kind of interviewed for the job a little bit. They're like, hold up,
I felt the same way. I was like, I bet the Bears brass. I bet, you know what I mean. We're sitting there watching that last night and was like, can we get that dude? Because that dude will take us to the playoffs this
yeah,
year. Like there was such a stark contrast again based on the show. I know
it it was a good show.
I don't want somebody sitting there like you don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just watching a
Yeah,
TV show. I'm watching what they give me.
yeah. I'm like, I want
You
less
don't have to
flus.
deal with Aaron Rodgers this year either.
Oh, man, that was like I liked a little bit of Aaron Rodgers a little bit, but then it just started getting
Williams is
worse.
more interesting because we don't know Williams. We know Rodgers. We don't need no more Rodgers.
Yeah, there's some likability when it comes to Williams. When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, it feels like he's trying to talk down on you. Like,
Yeah.
I went to Cal Berkeley. You probably went to some public
Yeah.
school that you just
Yeah.
happens to be a school that degree doesn't even matter.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that up. Speaking of big ass schools,
Yeah.
how'd you feel about Williams giving the horns down?
Uh,
That was
I,
a shot across the bow.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I remember that. Okay, you did get us in that game you played. It's all good. I'm not holding no grudges. That's how OU is. They're gonna do the horns down. That's cute and stuff. But we'll play y'all this year, and we'll see what's gonna happen. But
Yeah,
there's no.
I meant to ask. So I had to go through this bullcrap with Hutchinson. Now you got it with Williams.
All right,
I was like, that was unnecessary. And here's the thing, though. I didn't even feel it genuine. I didn't feel
it
like
wasn't.
he really meant it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's some questions that people have about Williams. Is like, did he really care? Like, and again, it's just we're not used to this type of personality. So it's like, is that how he shows his passion? Like, does he really care, or was he just saying it because he knows to say it? Because he said fight on the same way. And like, here's the thing about fight on, and nobody cares about fight on right now.
No, I don't think
Like, yes, y'all what won 6 games last year? Like, what you need to fight on? You need to fight somebody. Why don't you try fighting anybody? So anyway, I forgot about that little moment. I'm so glad that I'd see you do all your UT shows, man. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I lived in Oklahoma when by Norman and stuff, and that's just the thing that they do. It's just they can say horns down. Some of these guys are just at OU just trying to on a scholarship and stuff. and like that's just forcing their brains to say horns down. Some of them mean it. Some are OU fans through and through.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like he really meant that. He was just saying that because there's some UT guys on the Bears because for some reason the Bears draft a lot of Texas Longhorns. So
they probably see him. I'll tell you when Texas wearing those cream pants and them orange jerseys, they all look fast out there. I'd draft them all.
yeah.
That's that's one of the best uniforms in football. Like or if they go all white, woof. Remember Vince Young, all white?
Man, that was that's one of my favorite games I ever watched as a kid.
Oh man,
I could watch it again over and over again, and I still feel like I'm watching it live again.
Hey, I hear you, man. Did they sell that helmet with that crooked horn on it, like Vince had? Remember that night he had that crooked horn on his helmet?
I think that.
I wonder if they sell that.
I could be at their museum, to be honest with you, or something. I gotta look. That's a good question. I might have to check that out after this show.
They put that emblem on wrong, man. What a game! I don't know, man. That Texas the uniforms always look great. We'll talk more Texas as the season goes on because I think Texas is going to be really good this year. I got Quinn Ewers #1 pick in the draft next year. Standing by it. I think all these things. So I got high hopes for you guys.
Yeah, I'm really excited about UT football this year. So
yeah, you should be.
Yeah, I love the guys that we got in here that are transfers and then the recruits. I've been trying to get deeper into college football now. That's how the excitement's got to me when it comes to football.
I don't think I could get much deeper. I think if I get much deeper, I'm going to be buried. I think it'll collapse on me. I think I'm as deep as I can get. I've dug the hole. I'm in. So I guess it's going to be a fun season, man. We'll have to do some college football talk coming up.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. Before we end the show, is there anything you got going on and everything, and where they could follow you and everything?
Nah, just Jeff Needs Sports is starting to heat back up. We just talked about it, college football. As you can tell, I care. So yeah, I'll have some shows coming up. I got some vacation stuff, but then a few weeks before the season starts, I'll start putting some more college football content out there. And again, check out Jeff Needs Sports. Check out Off Ball Network for everything everybody's doing over there. AB's doing a ton of off stuff. Ken, the entire gang. Just kind of keep up to date on that. We appreciate it. Likes, mentions, watches, all that stuff. Keeps the group going. Iron sharpens iron. We all get better every show. This is I think it's our fourth show. I'm sure it's our fourth season. So that's pretty cool, man. 4 seasons in a row for a couple guys that hadn't met before, like 2020. So really proud of everything we're doing. So keep up with that, everybody. And again, just keep turning on this, watching Hard Knocks and watching us afterwards. It's great.
Yeah, definitely tune in for the show and definitely follow everybody on Off the Ball Network. I got it in the description box. You can follow. There's some great podcasters out there and some great content creators, writers as well. So Off the Ball Network's a great network. Just make sure to check out everybody because they bring out some great stuff, basketball as well. So I'm just trying to make sure I covered everything, but we'll be back next Wednesday for episode 2. Can't wait to talk about what episode 2 looks like.
First game, Caleb Williams' first NFL action. We should be talking about next week.
Yeah,
it's gonna be heavy about that.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. But this has been Hard Knocks with Jeff and AB. Y'all have a good one. Peace.